Peace, love, and supreme wellness, everyone, is Takesha of Black Women Who Blaze Network. And I am joined by another special guest, another Black woman who blazes the industry. And she's going to tell us a bit about herself and what she does and her cannabis journey. So, without further ado, Ashley Morgan, could you please introduce yourself to the people?
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here tonight. My name is Ashley. I'm the founder of Lotus Bliss Botanicals, a cannabis wellness company. And I started Lotus Bliss Botanicals 2 years ago. And it kind of developed from my love for cannabis, my love for cooking, making edibles, and my journey as an herbalist and learning how cannabis and other plants and other herbs really benefit my wellness journey and just benefit me in such a positive light. I took that, I created Lotus Bliss Botanicals, and I'm so proud of how far I've come. And I'm a Black woman who blazes, and I'm happy to be here.
Oh, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on the platform and, being open to sharing your story and helping other Black women connect with the platform and really, be okay with coming out and speaking up and advocating about their cannabis consumption or the benefits of it. So, my first question is, which state do you reside in?
So I reside in Texas right now.
Okay, and so Texas, is it recreationally legal or is it medicinally?
So we're not medicinal or recreational right now. And that's part of the reason why Lotus Bliss Botanicals is completely CBD only.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, we are on a journey to legalize. It's gonna be a journey, and I'm hoping that sooner rather than later we'll get to medicinal and it'll all start to build from there.
Okay, okay. And so yeah, so your company is CBD based, and CBD is federally legal throughout the U.S. Via the Farm Bill, the Hemp Farm Bill in 2018, I believe. So,
Yeah.
she's legit. You can get your stuff from her without any problems. Okay.
Yes, that's a big thing. We got to be legit because, we want to fight the good fight, and I want this plant to be respected. And I want us to continue taking steps forward, not backwards. And, in the beginning of my journey, I was like, I can't make any THC products. I don't know about it, but it's taking it step by step and using what is accessible to us and working with that. It's been powerful and it's been empowering, and it has worked itself out.
Yes, yes. Okay, so yes, we're gonna get into your journey and then we'll get more into your business. And so, how long, if you don't mind me asking, have you been consuming cannabis? You don't have to tell us your age, but
Okay.
just
I'd say probably about 8 years. 8 years. Definitely, yeah. Sounds like a long time.
Like she said, sounds like a long time. Okay, 8 years. I mean, I've been consuming for a pretty long time, so 8 years, that's pretty decent. Uh, okay, and so tell me a little bit about your journey. Did you start off with THC, or what we would know, how we get it, how we used to have to get it? You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
started off with that. How did you transition to CBD?
Okay, so yeah, I started off THC, started off, hanging out with friends, smoking with friends, feeling good about that. It was always a positive part of my day, a good way to relax. And I smoked only THC. Like I'm very much so just like a roll a joint type of girl. And that's just what I would always do, just roll a joint and smoke weed that way. I wasn't really like vaping or dabbing, and I didn't really have access to too much of that.
Right.
Right. So I was straight THC, and I started using CBD because not because of my business, but I started using CBD right around the time where I started my business. When I started, I was like, I want to do THC based products. I'd rather move somewhere where it's legal and do it that way. And that really wasn't possible to me. And then I began really using CBD more routinely and really narrowing in on what I'm using it for and how I'm consuming it to get the most out of it. And that's what started my CBD journey. I was experimenting with CBD edibles and CBD pre-rolls, and I started using CBD about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. Before that, I wasn't going for it. I will tell the truth. I was like, I don't know about that. I'm gonna just smoke a joint and I'm gonna be over here.
Right, while y'all do that, right. Right. So for those who don't know, could you explain the difference between THC and CBD?
Okay, yeah. So THC, it THC and CBD, they both come from the cannabis plant. And the thing is, that's different. They'll give your body different effects. A lot of the time with THC, there's a lot of psychoactive effects that can be very apparent, like feelings of euphoria or feelings of like pain going away, something like that. With CBD, the effects can be more subtle. They're not mind altering at all. So you wouldn't feel euphoric very much so. You wouldn't feel extremely drowsy. It wouldn't be something that's as apparent as THC, but it will help more so with the processes that are going on in the body, such as whatever you might be using it for, whether it be mood, trying to improve mood, trying to lessen the feelings of stress or what stress might bring to you. It might help your body to kind of calm down to a state where it's easier to fall asleep. So it's not very much mind altering or psychoactive. That's the difference between THC and CBD. That's kind of pretty apparent.
Okay, thank you. Because of course, everybody's like, what CBD, what is this? And why they trying to push CBD? And a lot of people don't know that CBD has a host of health benefits. And it really because a lot of us don't know about a system that our body has that has receptors for phytocannabinoids already, and that CBD also is received in other parts of our body outside of the endocannabinoid system. So it really does wonders for your body, and you really don't notice it until, like you said, you routinely begin to consume it, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can feel this difference. And no, you don't have the intoxicating effects like
Mm-hmm.
THC, but it's just something different about it, and that's what I'm actually puffing on right now is CBD. So but my smoothie is THC infused. I balance it out.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Like, so I balance it out. But yes, a lot of us don't know that CBD is readily available. But you want to also make sure that you're getting it from a reputable business like yours,
Mhm.
where you can get safe access and lab tested
Exactly. Make
CBD
sure you're
hemp
getting
derived.
quality.
Right. And it's hemp derived because there is a difference between CBD that comes from the cannabis plant that also has THC, and then the
Hmm.
CBD that comes from hemp or craft hemp. So, the good stuff is in the craft hemp. So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so my next question is, all right, so you talked a little bit about your journey. So what is your preferred delivery method?
That's gonna be consuming edibles 100%. Yeah, I'm a foodie, and if I can eat a snack or a little dessert or something, or drink a smoothie, and
Mhm.
I'm also gonna be feeling the effects in 30 to 45 minutes, I love that. I also love how discreet it can be. You know, I know like I can do that through any time throughout my day and not have a problem, because it's such a discreet way of consuming and
Yeah.
still be on a good vibe.
Yes, yes, I agree. Before I um, became a cannabis health coach, that was my goal. It was like, oh, I'm going to be creating edibles. But of course, I was coming from the THC side. Like, I want to create THC edibles, but and then as I started to learn more and get more involved in the industry and seeing what else was out there, I moved away from wanting to be an edible producer to the scale
Hmm.
that I wanted to because of the barriers a lot of times for us. Um, but I still make products obviously for myself and also CBD. So I started making CBD products, CBD edibles. But edibles, yeah, is I think my favorite way to consume or my favorite delivery method because I love also the how it progressively, how long it lasts and how it can
Yes.
progress, depending on the dose. So,
Yes.
if I want something fast acting, then I'm gonna inhale. That's the
Hmm.
quickest way to feel the effect. But I prefer it like taking medication. Oftentimes it doesn't. If you're taking prescription meds, it doesn't hit right away. But
Right.
all of a sudden you're like, oh, the pain's gone. You feel better, and that's how I feel
Yes.
about edibles. So yeah, I agree.
Yes, and I just want to mention something, and I love that, we're both women. I can just talk about this. One thing with me is like whenever I'm feeling like menstrual pain,
Mhm.
edibles have to be my go-to for just how much more effective I feel like they are and how much longer they last.
Yes.
Because, I'll definitely smoke THC, but then the effects and the pain management that it's giving me will kind of go away after some time. And I'm like, nah, I still need that. But taking edibles, during my menstrual cycle, it's such a lifesaver for me, just like taking any other medication might be. It
Right.
helps with my pain just, for so much longer. I feel it's so much more effective. I love edibles.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. And I feel like, we have to, I'm glad that you have an edibles company because, now we can see, now there's other women, like us that can see how we can move into the market and create something and we don't have to wait for
Hmm.
THC legalization, you know what I mean? Because the effectiveness of CBD and also the other cannabinoids that are available like CBG and they're starting the CBC and CBN and stuff like that. So as long as you do your research, learn as much as you can, but and also try it out, get in there, and I love calling it my kitchen lab. Get in your kitchen lab and create something
Yes.
effective and tasty. We're here for it. And so okay, so my next question is about advocacy. So is cannabis advocacy important to you? Why or why not?
Yes, it definitely is important to me because I feel like there has been and there still is to this day a negative stigma or just a stigma in general for those who consume cannabis. There's a stigma around the cannabis plant alone.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm an advocate for just how healing and powerful I think the plant can be. Um, I think that it should be respected and acknowledged for its medicinal benefits, its recreational benefits as well. And I really think that the stigma that's around the plant, it's something that cannabis consumers, I don't think we should be dealing with that. I don't think that I think that advocacy in that sense is definitely important. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, so, and this is why being open about consuming, why I wanted to make sure that we had a platform that we can speak to why we consume, whether it's medicinally for a condition and how it's helped, whether it's, for therapeutic uses or recreational. Some people, opt out. Like now, I don't consume alcohol. If I want to get a little recreational, I know what to go to, and it's
Yeah.
healthy for me at the same time. And but also, the environmental benefits, and and the possibility for all of everyone to be able to change, transform their health, transform their wealth and things like that. So it's important to advocate for the plant, but also and the person using the plant, but
Hmm.
also we definitely want to advocate for restorative and transformative justice, because us being Black women, the stigma is not just around a plant, but also us consuming a plant. We get negative
Hmm.
connotations when it comes to why we consume and how we consume. And,
Hmm.
I think that it's important to show something different, and this is why I created the platform. So thank you for being here and helping me to spread that. All right. And
Definitely.
so, how has prohibition affected you specifically? Well, obviously, it's because you're in a state that it's still prohibited, as
Hmm.
far as THC. So it's affected really your ability to scale your business and really tap into that market that for people who consume or need the THC. You know what I mean? Or need that cannabinoid. So obviously, that question kind of answers itself once you said
Yeah.
what you say. But if you want to speak to that, if you have anything to add to how prohibition has affected you specifically.
Yeah, so definitely like you said, in my state, it's not legal yet. And that affects my business. And but one thing is, when I first started Lotus Bliss Botanicals, I wanted it to be THC products.
Hmm.
I had to have my business coach tell me, like, listen, you cannot, if you want a legal business,
Right.
you cannot produce THC products. So I had to sit with that for a while. And even though that was like a stumbling block for me, it was like a door closing for me. I was able to find the benefits in CBD and still work with the plant somehow. So the prohibition is affecting me that I couldn't produce THC products like I wanted to. I couldn't scale my business like I wanted to, but it also it also helped me realize, and something that I feel like it was important for me on my journey as an entrepreneur, just because one door has closed doesn't mean I need to give up. It helped me kind of be kind of try to figure out different ways on how to work with what I've got right now. So it's affected a lot, I'd say.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And so, do you think federal legalization is going to happen? Do you think that'll happen anytime soon?
I definitely do. There is not there's there's not much of any evidence that shows how cannabis can negatively affect adults. Meanwhile, there are things that are legal, such as alcohol or other prescription drugs that are given out daily and that are so easily accessible, which can cause damage to the organs, which can cause you know um so much, so much. I would not see cannabis not being legal for more than 10 or 20 years, if that. because of the medical benefits research has been showing, and just the lack of negative effects it has on adults. I see federal legalization coming soon. We have, what is it, like 13 or 14 states that are now recreationally legal, somewhere around there. So,
Right, it's moving along.
it's
I saw it
going.
was about, I think we moved to almost 18, and between states and like U.S. territories, and
Mm,
then you have states like Mississippi who just became medicinally,
right.
you know, um, legal, and there's a few lined up to they're trying. And so my question is for you, for where you're at, is there anything that you think that people watching, or something that we can do to help move it along in your area? Is there someone that you think we need to contact, and write a letter to, or what have you, to move it along in your state, whether it's medicinally or for adult use? Do you think that that's something that could help?
So I I do think, kind of like writing to senators and writing to mayors that are in Texas, that's always helpful, because it's the power of the people. It's our job to kind of express what we need to them. I think that's helpful. As of right now, though, when Texas isn't really um even having legalizing it medicinally on the forefront for us right now, I think another important part, other than working, expressing our concerns to the government and letting them know what we're needing as adults, I think another part would be joining advocacy groups that work towards legalization. Checking out like state groups, whether it be in Texas or any state,
Right.
um, that work towards, cannabis normalization and legalization. I think that's important. There's power in numbers, and also just that education and networking that can be brought in from that. I think really kind of building a cannabis community around around ourselves can be important. There's power in numbers.
This is true. This is true. This is true. And I think that's excellent. I think that's the first step. Um, and I feel like, advocacy is kind of the prerequisite to enter in the industry as a professional, starting a business or becoming a professional. You should definitely become an advocate, learn about the history, learn about the laws in your state and in the laws in the US, in order to help move and push the narrative forward to decriminalize, destigmatize, and like you said, normalize cannabis consumption, for health and therapeutic benefits. And if you want, adult and recreational use. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, yeah, what changes would you want to see once federal legalization happens? So, my question is like, once it is federally legal, what other changes do you think need to happen immediately?
Immediately, I think we really need to take into account the people and communities that have been negatively affected by the war on drugs,
Hmm.
that have been negatively affected by the stigma around cannabis. I think that's one of the things we need to pour into. There are still people that are locked up, for 5 grams or 6 grams,
Mm,
something that is what's that gonna do? I
right.
think we need to work on getting those people freed for, non-violent cannabis offenses. That's something that needs to take place immediately, if not before
Yes.
federal legalization.
Yes. Yes.
It,
I agree. I agree. Especially with people becoming millionaires and billionaires in
and
the
it's
legal
it's
market.
an essential business in certain places. And
It
there's
was, yes, because
yeah.
during the pandemic, I'm a medicinal patient, and it was open like the regular pharmacy out here.
Yeah.
Okay, it was essential, and people was out there to get their meds lined up with the masks on. So, if it's an essential, if it's considered essential, Stop playing with us, okay?
Exactly.
Stop playing with us. So, what kind of impact do you want to have in the cannabis industry? I know you started, your Lotus Bliss Botanicals, but is there something more you want to do? Is there anything else that you wanted to tap into in the industry?
Well, one thing that I hope to be like, and especially with your platform, you'd understand, I want other Black women to see that you can you can join the cannabis industry because representation matters, and you want to see somebody that looks like you doing things that you may not have thought about doing, or you may have thought about doing, but you're like, nah, I don't know, that's for white men that have a whole bunch of capital, a whole bunch of
Right.
money to throw at businesses. I want to just, network with women and show women that you can step into this space if you need to, or if you want to. It's nothing to be, put off by, and that we're here, we should come together. And another thing I want to tap into in this industry, um, kind of just for the same for the Black community. I want us to kind of have the narrative turned around. For some time, it's been like we those in the Black community might be seen as like drug dealers or what have you, because of cannabis, or drug users. I want us to benefit in some way from the legalization of this plant. I want us to feel good about the legalization of this plant. I just want it to be equitable. And I want to introduce a lot more wellness, because cannabis is a herb,
Thank you.
it's a plant that's healing, and it's super fun to smoke with your friends and have an awesome time, but it is also such a healing plant. I want there to be a lot more, health and wellness brought to the forefront when it comes to the cannabis industry. It's a healing plant.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I agree. That is exactly, my stance as far as, us getting beyond the high when it comes to cannabis and understanding, and putting some respect on her name. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Period. Putting some respect on her name, and letting us everyone know that it is an herb. It does have medicinal benefits. It does help you on a molecular level.
mhm,
It's just so many things. It's so much more than just an illicit drug that you've been conditioned to believe it is. So
exactly.
it's going to take a reconditioning of your mind.
Yep.
And I was speaking to someone the other day, and I said, if you are consuming cannabis and your mind has not been transformed and deconditioned, then you're doing it wrong. And so
Mhm.
the fact of the matter is, it's time to learn how to consume consciously and with intentional use. And
Yes.
that's my thing. That's what I champion, along with well, that's part of my advocacy work. And so, okay, so, and before we give everybody your details on how to contact you and your website and stuff like that, what message do you have for other Black women who consume cannabis and would like to get involved with this work?
Okay, I'd say definitely go for it. A lot of the times I feel like or I'll say even personally, I felt like I needed to know all of these things. I needed to study all of these things. I needed to have all of these things accessible to me to create a real business, or to create um something. And I think the first step to creating a real business is getting started. And it was something that was scary to me, but taking that first step is so important. Just figuring out what you think you can offer to others, figuring out what you think can be helpful for others is such an amazing step in the right direction. Definitely go for it, and also try to network and reach out to other women or anybody in the cannabis industry. You know, put yourself around um those in the cannabis industry. I remember I'd like to go to like cannabis business conferences, whether it be virtual or in person, and that helped me so much in the beginning, just kind of feeling safe and secure, like, okay, I can create something here, I can become a part of this, putting myself around those who consume and have created something for themselves. So definitely networking and putting yourself out there around people who are in the cannabis industry, and just taking that first step, whether it be making edibles for your friends, whether it be going ahead and figuring out business wise what you might want to do or what you can do in your state,
Mm-hmm.
reading the laws and regulations in your state to figure out what might be possible. Taking that first step is important, and anybody could do it. You could do it.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, yeah, I agree. I agree. And a lot of times we have the fear of the first step, and
Hmm.
we think that, like you said, we have to be super educated or well connected, or you have to be in the right place at the right time, or what
Hmm.
have you. But like you said, doing some research on what you can actually legally do in your state, and then networking is important, networking and finding, like you said, virtual events online. A lot of times
Hmm.
they're free. You can find stuff on Eventbrite and things like that to see what's needed in the industry and I think bringing what you already have, whatever skill set you already have, built in other industries, the cannabis industry is going to need. So
Yeah.
just realizing that. But I'm super proud of you, girl, because I checked out your site. It is beautiful. Lotus
Thank
Bliss
you.
Botanicals. I will definitely be putting my order in.
Yay.
And, I support our businesses, support Black businesses, especially during a time where we need the biggest support. A lot of people want to know, how do you
Mhm.
support BIPOC communities in cannabis? And it's just spending your money, advocating with your dollars, and supporting the
Mhm.
businesses that are created. And then also access, if you have access, and in being open to mentoring, and especially those who are already in the business. So
Yeah.
but I'm proud of you, and thank you for coming on here and sharing your story. Let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, or your website, how they can purchase your products.
Okay, definitely. So my business name is Lotus Bliss Botanicals, and that's where I sell my products. Also, it's completely online, an e-commerce business. So it would just be www.lotusblissbotanicals.com, and you can shop there, you could place an order there, check out blog posts, or just even subscribe to the email list so we can stay connected. And I'm also on social media. I would love it if everybody could follow me on Instagram at Lotus Bliss Botanicals. Um, trying to build Twitter, Lotus Bliss. It's basically all the same thing all around. Lotus Bliss Botanicals. I think my Twitter is actually Lotus Bliss CBD. But yeah, online, www.lotusblissbotanicals. And even if you just get straight to the website, I have little widgets there that you can click on all the other social media stuff, and you can check out whatever social media you want to check out. And thank you for having me today.
Yes, yes, definitely. I will make sure I put all of your contact info in the description, so you can get a direct link to her website, and, follow her on her social media, support her in her business, and also in her advocacy work, like she said, you know, um, do what we can to spread the word about cannabis and legalization. And so also for me, if you are a Black woman in the cannabis industry who consumes and wants to share your story about how you were able to consume cannabis and use it for a condition that helped you, get over it or helping you cope. If you are a cannabis professional and you work for a company and you want to share how you, did those steps, so other Black women can look into those opportunities. Or if you are a cannabis entrepreneur and you want to share your business and your story on the platform, please contact me at Black Woman Who Blaze on IG. And you can also go to my website, afrocanaholistic.com, and you will be able to fill out a form to be on the platform. If you are a person who is dealing with any kind of body breakdown and want guidance in your cannabis consumption, you can schedule a consult with me at afrocanaholistic.com. And until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. And Supreme Wellness, everyone.